All right, next BiS list video. This is Resto Shaman. I know it seems like I'm kind of all over the place here, but I'm just trying to stick in my wheelhouse of classes that I've definitely spent multiple hours playing and that I'm comfortable with and that I can speak on with my expertise. That way I can give you guys good information moving forward. So thank you for bearing with me. Today we're talking about Resto Shaman. I have your pre-raid BiS and your phase 1 BiS for Classic Wrath, and I'm very excited about sharing it with you because I do have a couple things that I do a little different than other Resto Shamans that I think you'll like. As always, the first thing we're going to do is jump right into the talents. Now, Resto Shaman has a few talents that kind of jump around depending on like what your raid needs or where you can cheese or what you can get rid of. That's kind of a video for another time, or just a Resto Shaman guide thing that really like you need to soul search on your own. This isn't the video for that. The only thing that I want to point out is I am taking enhancing totems in this setup. And of course, I'm taking Cleanse Spirit. I will always be taking Cleanse Spirit. And this is more for like an AoE healing Resto Shaman build. Because glyph-wise, these are the 3 glyphs that I would recommend just like in general for phase 1. These are all completely subject to change. If I could say, in terms of any class in the entire game, which class has the most exchanging of glyphs, it's probably Resto Shaman. You are like literally changing glyphs per fight if you can find ways to like optimize a certain glyph over another. That's 100% a thing. So do not sit on these 3 glyphs and just call it a day. It's a good place to start. You need to start thinking about where can you optimize other glyphs in other areas. Anyway, those are the 3 glyphs that I definitely want to recommend. Of course, like these 3 glyphs for minor are great too. Let's jump right into the gear. Without any further delay, we're going with our engineering goggles for the headpiece. Now, these are solid, but they actually don't have any haste on them at all. They just have really good stats. We definitely want these. There are a couple alternatives, but truthfully, some of them just aren't too realistic. Like, for example, to kill Jaden from Sunwell Plateau Head is actually pretty decent. To be completely honest, it does have a good bit of haste, and the spell power is really not too far off. But as you can see, like the engineering goggles just went out overall. Oh, and one last caveat. The EP values on these BiS lists for Resto Shaman are accurate for Classic Wrath. I have made sure customly to make these EP values good and accurate for you. So when you download this BiS list, you know that these EP values are good. I cannot say that for any of the other BiS lists that I've put out yet, but this one I can. I will fully endorse that. Okay, anyway, the neck piece. We are going with the Emblem of Heroism neck. This one is decent. It, again, just has no haste on it, which is kind of a huge bummer. A decent alternative would be the jewel crafting one, but you're going to pay a pretty high price for this when you can just farm up some dungeons and get this one in no time. Just kind of up to you how you want to spend your time and spend your gold in game. The shoulders, we're going with the Dark Runic Mantle. These are kind of funny because they are actually going to be super expensive at the beginning of the expansion, like insanely expensive for a couple days, and then they'll just fall off a cliff. Like as soon as people start running Halls of Stone more, these are going to drop like candy and will drop off a fucking cliff in price. So you can wait on this if you want, if you just want to buy it later. Huge shout out to the Sunwell Plateau shoulders though. I love these shoulders. I mean, seriously, like you actually get more spell power from these. Overall, like EP value wise, like Dark Runic Mantle wins by 2 EP, but truthfully, like you could run with these Sunwell Plateau shoulders all the way through Nax until you replace them with anything like your where is it? This, your Resto, your tier shoulders. Like it's crazy. The Sunwell Plateau shoulders are just really good. Okay, so for your cloak, we're going with Death Chill Cloak. Now, this is going to be a majorly expensive item for you. Like, super extremely expensive item. So if that's not something that you can spend on, let me try to offer you this alternative from Oculus Heroic is Ancient Dragon Spirit Cape. That one's okay. You could go with the don't go with the PvP ones. The Kirin Tor one is okay. hopefully, if you could save up 25 Emblem of Valor before Nax comes out, just by doing your heroic dailies. But the Deathshield Cloak kind of stands like, it stands up. This shit's really good. It's just really, really expensive. So, you know, if you want to spend the gold on it, go for it. But you will replace it fairly quickly, and that's up to you. Obviously, our best in slot gloves are going to be the tier gloves. I mean, chest, the tier chest. This is, again, coming from Emblem of Heroism, which we obtained from just running dungeons. No problem at all. Now, here comes the fun part. We're running 2-piece T6 from Sunwell. We're running the bracers and boots. So here we have the bracers from Sunwell. These are super good. The reason these are good is because of the 2-piece set bonus. Chain Heal ability costs 10% less mana. That's really important on a Resto Shaman. We know that we're going to have buffed content here just a little. And one fight in particular where you might really need this is Saffron and Naxxramas. Look, today we don't know. We have zero idea how buffed these things are going to be. But if it's anything like a buffed version of Saffron that I have seen in my experience, you don't want to underestimate it at all. So take this 2-piece set bonus from T6 because you will go on a long Saffron fight where you're spamming the hell out of your raid with a bunch of chain heals literally the entire time. This is really important for you. For weapon, we're going with War Mace of Unrequited Love. This one is dropping off of, what's it? Nexus Heroic? Yes, Heroic Nexus. And one other option that is decent is the Blacksmith Mace as well. You're kind of just swapping a little bit of spell power and gaining crit while you lose a whopping 49 intellect and some MP5, because this weapon doesn't have any intellect at all. Your choice, really. This one comes from Heroic, and this one's going to cost you a lot for crafting. So up to you. For offhand, we're going with the DTK Heroic. Offhand, it has a lot of haste on it, which is super good. Although there are a couple other options, like this Faces of Doom coming from Inscription. It's going to be crafted. It's really not all that great. It doesn't have any haste on it at all. Also, this shield is pretty decent from Emblem of Heroism, but there's no haste on it, so I'm really not too drawn by either one of these offhands, but you could definitely go with either one. Totally fine either way. These gloves are pretty solid. What's weird about them is they do have spirit and 0 stamina on them. They're crafted by tailoring. They aren't too terribly expensive, but they are pretty dang solid, so I do highly recommend these gloves. For belt, oh my god, this belt is so good for Resto Shaman. Just really well itemized, really good socket bonus too, and it costs Emblem of Heroism, so you're gonna easily pick this up. Phenomenal belt here. These legs are great, coming from DTK Heroic. Again, just a whopping 90 haste on them. It's just so good. These legs are great and irreplaceable for the slot. And like we said before, this is our T6 2-piece pickup for boots. Now, rings are interesting. There's like 4 different rings that you could pick from. These would be the absolute BiS ring setup if we had to pick 2 of the 4. Now, Signet of the Kirin is going to cost you 8.5k gold. Now, if you really don't want to spend that kind of money on it, which I totally understand, my next best recommendation would be something like Signet of Hopeful Light. This is coming from Argent Crusade Exalted. Easy to obtain. It's just from a reputation. No problem at all. And then the next option would be something like this ring from Heroic Utgard Keep. Super good ring. Between these 3 rings right here, Band of Guile, Signet of Hopeful Light, and this ring, they're all phenomenal. Any combination of 2 from these 3 rings would be a great choice for you. Just keep in mind that Band of the Guile and this ring from Utgard Keep, they're all very contested for caster DPS. They will all be wanting this ring. So if you have a warlock in your party and he's in your guild and he wants this ring, you should probably just give it to him. Spark of Life is your best in slot trinket. This trinket is crazy good. It's best in slot for the entire phase and will last you a very long time in Ulduar. You will eventually replace it, but that flat haste is crazy strong. It's crazy strong, seriously. So Spark of Life is a huge item here for your trinket slot. Your next trinket slot is kind of like whatever. We go with Egg of Mortal Essence, as it's only 40 Emblem of Heroism, pretty decent amount of flat spell power on it, and has a haste proc of 505 for 10 seconds, which is not bad. We'll take that. Another decent option would be... Oh, wait. The bell is not in the game. We will go with Egg of Immortal Essence. Now, Totem of Forest Growth. We go with this totem here just in thinking that we are planning for the highest output possible. We want to have this, reducing the mana cost of Chain Heal, for the same reasons why we're running 2-piece T6. However, if we wanted to optimize for more effective heals, then one recommendation I would give you is the one from the PvP vendor, or the PvP quests in Grizzly Hills. Totem of the Bay increases the base amount healed by your chain heal by 102. This is identical to the totem from Kara, if you're familiar in TBC. It's just more base healing from your chain heal. You guys use this for the entirety of the expansion in TBC, so something like this is pretty logical to be a solid choice for you, at least for the beginning in Wrath. So this would be a good alternative in case you're not having any mana issues whatsoever. Now, for the BiS list, Resto, Phase 1 BiS. Now, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room, because I know if you've played any bit of Resto Shaman at all in your life, you're probably seeing it too. So let's just talk about it. Okay, my trinket. I'm running with Battle Master's Avidity. So this is weird. I understand it's very weird. Let me just explain. This trinket is only useful for the 95 haste. And it's a flat, like, ridiculous amount of haste, which is all that we're stacking on Resto Shaman. We're not going to be hitting our haste cap anytime soon. We go for as much haste as we possibly can. And the other trinkets in this phase are just kind of crappy. The Mercurial Alchemist Stone is decent, but this has like almost double the amount of haste. You only really use this if you are an alchemist, which most of the time you shouldn't be. You should really only be an alchemist on super buffed content for phase 1 only, and then you'd replace alchemy like the next phase. So I actually love Battle Masters. I love it. It's technically more EP value than any other trinket in the game. If we're just talking about the flat bonuses, like the flat spell power from Forethought versus the flat haste from Battle Masters, you get more from Battle Masters, straight up. And I think that the equip proc from Forethought, it's just very underwhelming. It says your direct healing spells have a chance to place a heal over time on your target, healing for 3,572 over 12 seconds. This is nothing. That heal over time is very, very lackluster. It's poopy. You can look at it in logs and see it do like a minuscule amount of your healing output. That's just my 2 cents on it. Again, you could also continue to run with Egg of Mortal Essence, as I think that proc is actually decent compared to Forethought Talisman. But at the end of the day, I'm a Battle Masters guy, and I might be completely blowing some people's minds who have been playing Resto Shaman for years, but this is the shit. And there's another Battle Masters trinket out there as well, and I don't think it's being shown on 80 upgrades right now, but it is available through Winter Grasp, and it's the same setup. It's giving you amount of haste with an on use of a PvP trinket, if I remember correctly. I like the Battle Masters one because you're not going to use like a PvP trinket in PvE situations very often at all, but the increased health is actually pretty solid. When you get into Ulduar and you're running a trinket like this on, say, Freya hard mode, and you use this whenever a stomp goes out, or whenever you can at least, or on Algalon when you know you have a big bang or a cosmic smash coming, and you're gonna take a lot of damage, like, this helps. This genuinely helps and does something for your survivability, which is great to have as a healer. Anyway, enough with the rant about the trinket. I'm obsessed with that trinket and I love it. And whatever, sue me for it. Your best neck is technically this EoE quest neck, but we're never taking that whatsoever. So we are running with Cosmic Lights. Comes off Sapphiron in next 25. We are running with 4-piece T7, by the way. We're running with 4-piece. The 4-piece is super good. Increases the healing done by your chain heal by 5%. That is phenomenal set bonus. Now, there are 2 places that you could drop to maintain this set bonus. Technically, the best and most optimal place is your gloves to be your off-piece, but an alternative would be your shoulders. And what you would use is this right here from Obsidian Sanctum, are these shoulders right here. They are actually BOE. Super weird, right? Super, super weird. Another good option is actually these shoulders too. Phenomenal. 61 haste. Crazy good. Crazy, crazy good. Either one of these shoulders would be a great off-piece choice for you. And what you would do is just throw on tear gloves by running right here and maintaining it. It's just technically not optimal. That is not the thing to do. That is not the play. That's not what we're going for here. I genuinely don't even remember what gem I had in there. Anyway, I think that was the gem I had, so hopefully that's right. Pendant Cloak. This is your best in slot cloak. However, it's extremely contested. The only chance that you're going to have to get this is really just by doing a G to KP and being an absolute whale at purchasing it. Resto Shaman is unfortunately pretty low on the priority list, even though it is like by far your best. Your next best option is Shroud of Luminosity, which drops off multiple bosses in Nax, so that should be pretty easy for you to obtain. Again, we're going with tier chest here, and my favorite chest enchant is going to be the 10 MP5. Bands of Mutual Respect are by far your best risks. Not even close. Well, I know it says these are close, but the socket bonus is really, really good here. Torch is definitely our only good option for weapon. And so is Shield with Voice of Reason. We already talked about these gloves. These come from EOE 25, just FYI, and you are the only class in the game who really has these on your BiS list, so don't worry. When they drop, they will go to you. This belt is really good. Again, this is coming from Nax off of Instructor Resuvius. In terms of belts that you would go in terms of progression, you would never pick up this one from a noob. And this one, Leash, is going to be a caster belt the entire time. So you have your Emblem of Heroism belt. You could run Girdle to Gambit until you get Girdle of Recuperation. But that's it. Those are the only 3 belts in the whole phase that you're really looking at. Pretty simple. We're running with tier legs here. We go with these boots actually from EOE 10, which is kind of funny. Getting something from EOE 10. Now our best rings here are going to be Signet of Manifested Pain and Ring of Decaying Beauty. Just the 2 best rings in the game for us. And then the trinkets we've already talked about. And the totems the same as before. We actually don't go with any of these other totems. This one reduces the mana cost of Healing Wave by 79. Is pretty lackluster and really only usable in like a 10-man situation or where you may possibly be doing more tank healing for any random fight. But go ahead and pick it up and sit on it, I guess, if you want it, but you will likely never use it. And that's it for Resto Shaman. Not too complicated. Not too controversial, just a fun, simple BiS list for both pre-raid and phase 1. Use this as a tool to help you gear your Resto Shaman alts or your Resto Shaman mains out there. Again, we have no idea how long the phase 0 is going to last, so it could be 1 week, it could be 3 weeks until we get Nax and OS and EOE. So depending on how long that is you know, going to tell you how realistic the pre-raid BiS setup is obtainable to. So once we find out about phase 0, then you'll know like if you can actually hit that perfect BiS list, this setup. But thanks for watching, guys. Please feel free to subscribe if you want to see more BiS lists coming out soon. I'm going to be dropping a bunch more on all the classes that I'm familiar with. And yeah, thanks so much for the support. Seriously, I'm excited to be making videos again, and I love you guys so much. Comment down below if you have any questions at all about Resto Shaman. I'll do my best to answer. Oh, also, if you really want to know more about Resto Shaman, I will leave a link to a guide done by Teamy, who has made the best class guide of anyone I've ever known. It's on YouTube. It's super long, and it's absolutely in-depth and really, really good for Resto Shamans if you're out there trying to get a BiS list together. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.